Hello and welcome to the theElpyDimension. I'm your guide Elpy, and this is mixed worm bin number 4. We are back. Today is the 26th of April 2025. It has been 1 week since we harvested about a third of this bin, and I just mixed some into soil. I've used most of the worm castings, and I need more because I am going to start my new green stalk for strawberries, and I wanted to add castings, so I added what I had left of the castings into some soil and figured that I could just easily come down here and harvest castings out of bin 1. But then I was just in bin 1. In bin 1 the worms are all over the place, so they are not ready to be harvested. I did give them what you could call food, maybe. So instead, we are going to come back in here. Oh, yes, and I did start a new experiment with cocoons. Oh, yeah, I did just drop all these over here because I picked some out of the castings before I put them in the soil. But I picked, go check out my short, 200 cocoons out of 1 gallon of the material. And I had almost 2 gallons, about 2 gallons. There were so many cocoons in there, I just couldn't help but I've never done the experiment of starting from cocoons, but I'm about to now because I got 200, and the worms are very well a week later into the new material. Oh yes, they are. They are very much in here. So fair to say they were happy to get into this new stuff. So I really would like to harvest. Like I said, I thought normally I wait 2 weeks and then harvest the rest of it, but I still see tons of cocoons. And there's a bunch of worms. I don't need a ton, I just wanted some. And maybe for the green stalk I won't. Maybe I'll add some later, or I'll just add some as I transplant. Yeah, that's what I'll do. Well, looks like I was avoiding picking out worms by not going with bin 1. But, looks like that's what I'm going to wind up doing anyways. So let's make this snappy. Okay. And worms in the green stalk are not, it's not bad. I mean, they're going to be in there anyways, but it's just probably not a great life for them. That being said, they can crawl over the edge when it rains and go find a new life. Yeah, so I was going to mix castings all into the soil, but I think I'll just add them when I add the bare root strawberry crowns. I can't remember where I heard it, and I only heard it once, but I swear I heard somebody say once that worm castings can act as a root stimulant. I like to believe that. If any of my fellow worm farmers have heard that or know that, I would love it if you would chime in. And let me know, because I always add worm castings when I'm transplanting. Yeah, see, the worms have moved out of this. I mean, bin 1 doesn't have new material. I just fed them, and so they got a little bit of paper with the food and weeds with the food. So they have new material in that way. But, you know, these guys versus these guys, the second half of the bin, gosh, there's so many cocoons. You know, they're already moving into the new stuff. So I'm not running into the problem that I had over there, was that there were just so many worms all throughout that, I mean, this is bad enough picking worms out, but that was a whole nother story. Even on the surface, you know, I thought maybe I could just take worms from the surface, but... And the trick here was that my plan was actually... Well, I did execute it to some degree, that I start harvesting on the right side. So that's why I'm running into bigger materials all of a sudden on the left side. But those are going to be... The plan was to pick them out over time anyways. But yeah, there's tons of cocoons again. Makes me feel crazy because it makes me want to just pick them all out. But it's like, oh, I don't want to take the time to do that. I already picked, out of 1 gallon, I picked out 200 like I told you. But, that there were more. I stopped at 200. I was going to stop at 100, but there were so many more. I'm like, I'll keep going. Then I was going to stop at 150. And by the time I reached like 170 or so, I was having to actively look for the cocoons. But I still found them. And like I said, there were still more. So that was wild. Please forgive my sniffling. I did just blow my nose right before I was in bin 1, and I had to, I got allergies. Whatever I'm allergic to is in the air. All right. Now you see I'm reducing the material, and I'm just taking off the top instead of what I normally do is take out a whole chunk, a whole section. Like the whole half. Last time I took out a whole third. And what I'm going to do, because I'll just stop being so heavy-handed with my castings, what I'm going to do is what I've done, what it seems like I'm starting to do more and more is I'm going to shift the old material over and still add new material, most likely. But we'll see once I get this bucket out of the way and have a look at the bin. See what the best course of action is. But that's... My brain is thinking ahead, saying that's what we're going to do next. Because I don't have a ton of material. I pulled some weeds out of, I don't know what one of the plants is, but I know the other one is burdock, which I just gave some of those to bin 1 and the blue bin, that I felt the blue bin needed me to pay attention to it. So I gave them some. And yeah, that's the other thing. Not only was I finding a ton of cocoons, but also a bunch of baby worms too. So these worms are really been breeding heavily. And I guess it, for that reason, I shouldn't worry too much about picking the worms out, but maybe more so about picking the cocoons out, because that's the next new generation. But putting them in the green stalk is a lot different than putting them in, say, a garden bed. But anywho, all right, we'll take a couple more handfuls off the top here. Then I need to move on. picking out the more obvious chunks of stuff. And you see my bucket is nearly full. Gosh, there's so many cocoons. I'm going to wind up picking them out, aren't I? And you see there's not... We'll check out bin 1 and you'll see that what I mean by being a problem, how many worms were all over that bin. Trying to pick them out, you know, this is a little bit more reasonable. Well, a lot more reasonable relative to that bin. But again, this bin has new material, and you see that the worms have happily made their way over there, and while that is anthropomorphizing me putting my human beliefs onto these animals, because worms, I do believe, are considered animals. I think it's fair to say, though, by the number of worms that are over in what little bit of that, of the new material that you saw, I think it's fair to say that they're probably happy over there. Just saying. Okay. Paper really doesn't matter. It's gonna, I feel like, break down fairly quickly. But all right, so we've got another almost 2 gallons, and this is all the stuff that I picked. Now this side's only a little bit lower than this side, but let's go ahead and fluff this material up. Oh man, that's pretty, it's wet down there. Which I knew adding the new material, which was wet, was going to wet down the old stuff. Now, how do I, oh yeah, I just reached into some of the worms. Gotta be a little bit more gentle. I'm in a hurry, so I'm like, let's go, go, go. That stuff's really... Oh yeah, the feeding before this was here. That's right, because I fed them before. Well, here's onion. And this onion's good and rotten. See, it's... I totally forgot about that feeding. Alright, let me... So this is all... Yeah. It's pretty slushy down there. And there's a ton of worms. Onion skin. See, guys? Worms don't hate onions. It's just the condition they're in. Yet I think it becomes dependent on how they react to the onion. This onion is trying to grow more than it's trying to break down. But we have tons of worms down here. All right, let's put our... Actually, maybe I want to put... the little onion a little bit closer. Oh yeah, this was part of the food. Right, where's our other onion? Put him down farther. Alright, so what we're gonna do is this. We are going to move the old material towards me. Gotta be careful that it doesn't make it too heavy on one side and one tip over. So what I'm doing, yeah, this is all a lot of new material. So I'm not even moving that whole side. We're just gonna make a pocket here. Okay. And then we are going to add all these greens. But first, I'm just going to take whole pieces of paper and jam them down in there. Then we're going to take greens, grasses, and burdock. See, sorry, my angle was bad. That stuff should become moist soon enough because the material around it is so wet. So you see this pocket is now a pocket of new material. And I'm not going to become overly concerned about moistening it further because it'll break down as it does on its own. The worms will figure out how they feel about it and we'll go from there. So I know this is a weird sort of trajectory now. That's not how you use that word. This is a weird setup. Some of the old, but that's what's happening right now. I'm worried about making this too top heavy in the front because this is on the edge of a bench. So otherwise, you know, so putting all these castings over here on this side, I don't love the idea of. So that's what we're doing. So now we have this feeding down here. Next time I'll probably move that over to the new material. And so now we've got here is all new stuff. And yeah, we'll move this stuff over into the new material, and we'll just continue to take from this and add new material. Now, what I might do, I think I will still add, I tore this into shreds, but into strips, I mean. I'll put wet paper over the new stuff. Not that I'm gonna forget, but it will also just help as a marker. And that stuff, there's a lot more air holes, and so yeah. Okay, it does kind of. All right, there we go. I got almost 2 gallons of castings with a ton of cocoons. I'll have to see what I do with that. Maybe this will be. But yeah, thank you so much for your time and your interest. Be safe, be well. I might use this for cocoons. Bye for now.